Welcome to This Explainer. Picture this, a warm, golden sunrise stretching across an ancient landscape, almost like a beautiful watercolor painting coming to life. We're stepping way back in time today, long before the ticking of mechanical gears and way before the glowing screens of our digital age. We're going to explore a truly fascinating piece of human history, how our ancestors first learned to capture the invisible, endless flow of time itself. I mean, seriously, try to imagine waking up in a world with absolutely no clocks, no watches, and definitely no smartphones. How would you know exactly when to wake up, or when to start working, pray, travel, or even go to sleep? We rely so heavily on our devices today that the mere idea of running a whole society without them just seems totally chaotic, right? Well, here's the incredible truth. For thousands of years, humans did exactly this, every single day. And long before mechanical clocks were even a thought, ancient civilizations weren't just wildly guessing what time it was. No, they were absolute masters at reading the natural world around them. They lived in this profound harmony with their environment, observing these really subtle shifts that you and I probably just ignore today. So let's dive into our first section, the master guide, the sun. Just by watching the position of sunlight and seeing how shadows stretched across the dirt, ancient people could actually estimate the time of day with surprising accuracy. But, as societies grew and got more complex, they needed something a bit more precise. By formalizing this whole process and reading exact shadow lengths, they created one of history's very first timekeeping inventions. Yep, the sundial. Now, the sundial was absolutely brilliant, but it had one pretty obvious flaw. What happened on cloudy days? Or, better yet, what happened at night? When that warm golden sun disappeared beneath the horizon, how did they keep track of the passing hours? Without light, the shadows vanished, and the stone sundials went completely useless. Which brings us to Section 2, keeping time in the dark using water and fire. To solve this nighttime puzzle, the ancient Egyptians actually pioneered the water clock. It's incredibly clever. They would carefully allow water to drip at a steady, consistent rate from one container right into another. By measuring the water level as it rose or fell, they could accurately track passing hours long after sunset. It was just a beautifully fluid, continuous way to measure time in the dark. And this kind of human ingenuity didn't stop there. It spread and evolved across the globe. Over in Asia, Chinese inventors took these early dripping water designs and totally leveled them up. They engineered these massive, incredibly complex water-based timekeeping chambers. These things were absolute marvels of ancient engineering, and they made nighttime timekeeping way more accurate. Now, while some civilizations relied on flowing water, others harnessed the steady burn of fire. They'd mark candles or sticks of incense with evenly spaced lines, light the fuel, and simply measure time as each section slowly burned away. Picture that for a second. A softly glowing, warm incense clock in a quiet, ancient room, silently and fragrantly tracking those dark hours of the night. Moving on to Section 3, the giant clock above, stars and nature. For the ancients, looking up at the night sky wasn't just about enjoying a pretty view. The cosmos was a literal, giant clock in the sky. Sailors, farmers, and travelers completely memorized the turning of the constellations and the changing phases of the moon. By reading these celestial bodies, they could accurately estimate not just the hour of the night, but the slow, vital passing of the seasons themselves. And closer to the ground, nature itself acted as a highly reliable, living schedule. Roosters crowing predictably at dawn, sure, but get this, certain flowers would physically open and close at highly specific times of the day. People also learned to read the daily behavioral patterns in birds and insects. And on a much grander scale, entire communities built magnificent temples aligned perfectly with the sunrise during solstices and equinoxes. Okay, that brings us to Section 4, the Babylonian legacy, math and time. 60. You see, some ancient civilizations divided up their days very differently from how we instinctively do it now. The ancient Babylonians decided to use what mathematicians call a base 60 number system. And this one specific mathematical choice, made thousands of years ago in the ancient desert, literally changed history. Think about it. That ancient Babylonian base 60 math is the exact foundation that eventually gave us our modern 60-minute hour and our 60-second minute. It is a direct, unbroken bridge from ancient Babylon straight to the digital watch sitting on your wrist right now. Their ancient mathematical ideas still shape every single clock we use today. Seriously, whether it's an old grandfather clock, the timer on your microwave, or the alarm on your smartphone,
We are all literally living on Babylonian time every single day.
So while ancient people didn't have digital screens, ticking watches, or electronic alarms, they possessed something just as powerful, a deep, profound understanding of the world around them. They were intimately connected to the earth, the shadows, the water, and the stars in a way that, frankly, we've kind of forgotten in our fast-paced indoor modern lives.
By closely observing the sun, the moon, the stars, the steady drip of water, the slow burn of fire, and the rhythms of nature, our ancestors figured out remarkably accurate ways to measure time. They didn't need a mechanical clock because they figured out how to turn the entire universe into one.
So the next time you glance at your phone to check the hour, I want you to ask yourself, are you just looking at a piece of illuminated glass? Or are you looking at thousands of years of human history? From the first shadows on an ancient sundial to Egyptian water clocks, all the way to the base 60 math of ancient Babylon, humanity was telling time long before the very first clock ever ticked. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep that incredible history in mind the next time you check the time.